A new verse to Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire.
Sing it,
Farms
Joe.
died, Kim's alive, all the Dows, stocks just dive, Putin's in the Black Sea, traitors in the GOP, nukes are loose, Dems boost, Mueller takes a tighter noose, House is gone, dead is long, she laughs, Twitter gaffes, voter fraud, Stormy's bot, but it's all the will of God.
Very good.
He left out Morning Joe, sure does blow. All right. Here was George Herbert Walker Bush when he just turned 20. After risking his life for his country on numerous bomber missions, he was shot down and rescued at 20. What was I doing at 20?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not what you call a poster boy for heroism. I have flat feet and would give you up for a slice of pound cake. Now, it's easy to draw comparisons between then and now. 16 million Americans fought in World War II. Today, 16 million people watch this.
No, that is rude. I've given you so much of my time, my energy, my heart, you bitch. Oh, seriously? Wow. No, I've given you everything, Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa! Yeah! Now, that's no dig at now. It's just to point out a connection between two eras. That all of our entertainment and leisure time was enabled by the bravery of people you might never have met. If you have one of the 16 million in your clan, I salute you. You're lucky. They made my idiocy possible. To quote John Kerry in a tweet that he sent to me, "Happy Veterans Day, Greg. I'm glad that all of us who served in uniform fought to defend your freedom to be a complete fool on Twitter." No. For once, the Driftwood Dracula was right. The only reason why I can be a fool today is because someone was a hero yesterday. So thanks, John. To quote one of your special friends.
Spring, summer, fall,
Hair. Looking back is sweet, but the price of nostalgia is forgetting the present. Today, brave men and women do outstanding work protecting you and me, our military, law enforcement, border police, and patrol. So do not mistakenly believe this is a generation of video gaming sofa surfers. Fact is, men and women die every day for this country. Although at times, it's hard to remind yourself that the rest of us aren't all idiots. Check out this tweet from Slate about Bush's service dog. Quote, Sully H.W. Bush is a service dog who had been with the president for 6 months, not his lifelong companion. Now imagine being that writer, questioning whether Bush's dog deserved all that attention. Yep, today I'm gonna put that mutt in its place. Excuse me, lifelong companion? Sully isn't 94 years old. That's Slate. Sorry, Slate. Sully can't feel your hot take. Like the rest of the world, he doesn't read Slate. He could, but he doesn't. He's a dog, a smart dog. Well, for one more day, you were a rat, a silly, silly rat. Meanwhile, others in the media kept an eagle eye on Trump. My God, what was up with his jacket?
He walks into the National Cathedral. The other presidents are seated. He is wearing his overcoat. He takes it off and hands said crumpled overcoat to the young Marine officer who was acting as his escort. What's going on there?
Why didn't he just leave the overcoat in the back of the seat?
I kind of hand it to Brian, always focusing on the big picture. When he isn't busy making up crap. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't say he was there while looking at the footage. You can't see me, but I'm right behind Trump. They're so obsessed with Trump, though, they missed the coolest thing. You got to check this beard out. You see this beard coming? Imagine what you could hide in that beard. I could hide in that beard. That's an Oak Ridge boy, by the way. I could hide in there for weeks. Meanwhile, others use the funeral as another excuse to trash the president.
What's really going on right now is a national reaction to Trump. No matter what we say or don't say, it's a reaction to what we have. And we miss the better. We miss that part of decency and honor.
Thanks, Chris. He's more off base than a drunk shortstop. Here's a Washington Post headline. At President Bush's funeral, Trump sits with fellow presidents, but still stands alone. Obviously, that's a lie. Even I can't stand and sit at the same time. And so even in a time of reverence and unity, they miss the point and obsess on their obsession. If only Trump's head would sprout horns, spin around, and spew fire. But what do you expect? If Trump didn't go, he'd get slammed. He does go, he gets slammed. What's really ironic about all of this, what did these funerals celebrate most? When you thought of Mr. Bush, what did you think most about? Patriotism, duty, family, faith. Isn't that the stuff that's openly mocked today by pop culture, the media, academia? There are more people who believe the earth is flat than believe in anything. And yet this week, those were the things that mattered. Weird, isn't it? When you're looking at death, you're not thinking about identity or jackets or the resume of a service pet. I hope we've learned something. I mean, think about this. President George Herbert Walker Bush fought in World War II. He flew 58 combat missions. He was shot down, rescued. Then he turned 21. Think about that. Later, he ran the CIA, he helped end the Cold War, and rescued Kuwait from Iraq. Yet in 1992, he still lost to Bill Clinton, just as Bob Dole did 4 years later. Why? Because his amazing life put him at a certain age. No war heroes, please. We'll take that young philanderer. We thought it over and decided. So the same people who make shallow decisions about you made one about him. You just gotta laugh. That's the other big message here. Bush was funny. Here's proof.
It's the last statement I'm going to have on broccoli. There are truckloads of broccoli at this very minute descending on Washington. My family is divided. I do not like broccoli, and I haven't liked it since I was a little kid, and my mother made me eat it, and I'm president of the United States, and I'm not going to eat any more broccoli.
When we talk about vanishing heroism, don't forget vanishing humor. Humor is what holds this whole operation, civilization, together. The only way to celebrate hate, though, is to shame, censor humor from the world. Jokes connect people, so eliminate them, and we won't be falling on the floor laughing. We'll just be falling on the floor. It's why the real heroes don't just fight communism and Hitler, but also people who can't take a damn joke. Those humorless creeps seem to be everywhere and reproducing. So as we gain that kind of noxious non-hero, we lose men like Bush. According to the Department of Veteran Affairs, roughly 496,777 American veterans were estimated to still be alive as of September 2018. What's that tell you? They're still here, 500,000 of them. They're not making more. And we should make it a point to talk with them, learn from them, and share a laugh with them. Because this week we lost at least one, and we're going to lose more. And that, friends, is no joke. Let's welcome tonight's guests. He's more country than a mud flap made of Daisy Dukes. From the duo Big and Rich, singer and songwriter John Rich. If jokes were smokes, he'd be the Marlboro Man. Comedian Jimmy Fallon. Nice jacket. The co-hostess with the mostest, National Review reporter Kat Timpf. He's responsible for most solar eclipses. Former WWE superstar, my massive sidekick, and host of UnPC on Fox Nation, Tyrus. All right.
Great to see you.
Thank you, thank you. I love how you're dressed today.
Thank you.
John.
Merry Christmas,
yes.
Eric.
Oh, I'm not talking about you, an extra from New Kids on the Block. You came in the holiday spirit.
Well, I did. It's Merry Christmas time, you know?
Yes, it is.
And I would just like to give a shout out to my 86-year-old Granny Rich, who watches your show. She smokes a pack of Marlboro Reds every single day and drinks a little whiskey every night, still pulls a 40-hour a week, and she made this jacket and the jeans.
Wow. So what you're saying is if I smoke a pack of cigarettes and drink a lot of booze, I could become an excellent seamstress.
It's possible. It's possible. Actually, I wrote a song about my grandfather, who was a World War II vet. He was in the Pacific. He was a tunnel rat. So he's a little guy. He's about 115. He joined at 17, lied about his age so he could go fight. And we've heard a lot of those stories. He had 6 Purple Hearts. And he went over to the Pacific and fought, and I wrote a song about him called The Good Lord and the Man. And on George Bush's 85th birthday, I sang that song, but I missed him because he was jumping out of an airplane on his 85th birthday. And then he called me back, and I was on a stage playing a Big and Rich concert. And he left me this incredible voicemail thanking me for the song. And I'm so glad that I missed this call because now I have that message. But
that's true, and you played it for me.
I
so
did.
It's real.
It's real.
Or it's Dana Carvey.
That's right. But the World War II guys, Greg, they literally saved the world. And when you know that there's less than 500,000 of those guys left around, if you ever get a chance to see one of those men, shake their hand, give them a big old hug, say thank you for what you did for our country. I mean, Hitler was coming after us. They bombed Pearl Harbor. They were coming from both sides. America stood up, showed its might, and ran them off.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Jimmy, after talking about the greatest generation, how do you feel about yourself?
Right now, I gotta be honest. I thought this looked good when I walked out of the house today. I actually walked like feeling like $1,000,000, and then I caught like a long shot mirror on the subway. Yeah. I look like a stripper who let himself go. You know what I mean? I call this look the tragic Mike. This is my tragic Mike look. But to your point, I am scared about us losing the greatest generation because the country is going in a scary direction where we are kind of, incentivizing these kids to be wusses. And that's why I always think, like, in New York, it's kind of funny as a cultural thing that we'll make fun of what we would call Southern rednecks because that's like a stereotypical thing to do. But I thank God for them because they're the only people raising tough kids anymore. Like, with me. If ISIS shows up tomorrow, you're not calling Hudson, Hopper, and Zane. You know what I'm saying? You're calling Bobby, Joe, Bubba, and Cletus. Right. And they're going to take ISIS out using rifles they got for their 10th birthday. That's how it's going to go down. So I'm with Mr. Rich.
All right, Kat, thoughts?
Granny Rich.
First of all, I just loved that photo of the service dog laying in front of the casket.
Yeah.
Like, how dare anyone make fun of that?
What is this person thinking?
Because it's just like dogs are so great. Like, if I ever die, which I may.
Yes, it could happen.
I don't know.
My cat would walk up and lay down next to me, but it would be to eat my face. So
that's a cat.
But I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't be using it anyway. But,
yes. And you know what? It's almost like you're sacrificing yourself.
Yeah, I suppose, which makes me almost a military hero.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. I'm very grateful for all the veterans because personally, based on the amount of anxiety I get from, like, Jenga, I couldn't go to war.
No, neither. I'm about as furthest from that as you could be. Tyrus, thoughts?
Like I said, I thought it was a great week to remember what's important in this country. I thought George Bush Jr., his speech on his father was powerful and amazing, and it really, I don't have a dad, but if I did, I would hopefully talk about him like that. That was like, well, I need to get one of those, but it might be too late. Like, wow, dads do all that? Wow. So it was kind of cool. And then at the same time, like, I did a lot of laughing. Like, the president, if he doesn't go to the funeral, he's the worst man on the planet.
Yeah.
He goes to the funeral, reaches over and shakes the hand of an adversary.
Yeah.
Classy move. Obama classily shook his hand back, and he still was the worst man in the world.
Yeah.
We just can't win with you. I mean, it's just that was the story, not this amazing funeral. There's time for everyone to forget about divisions in politics. They still were like, no, we need a Trump story. What do you got? Well, he did shake hands with Obama. That's all. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Run it. I mean, that's where we're at, and it's shameful.
The other thing I learned, and we got to move on, but about planning your own funeral, that's a lot of pressure. And George Bush, he wrote half of his own the plan. I have one page. I came up with it. Don't drop the ashes. This will be on mine. Don't drop the ashes. Don't invite anyone from Maroon 5. Open bar, but no fancy drinks, because I don't like lines. You know, they should be really quick, and it should have been a weekday, so you can take a day off. Because I'm always giving.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. All right. Straight ahead. 40 Democrats may be running in 2020. One for every ounce in my bottle of malt liquor. Looks like a ton are expected to run.
We'll have 30 or 40 probably great candidates running for president, I think, because everyone recognizes how urgent this moment is in our history of our country.
Wow, he knows his stuff. 40 candidates, the debates will be 6,000 hours long. Personally, I would rather watch this for 6,000 hours. Amazing stuff. So who are the 40 candidates? There's, of course, Joe Biden, who said he still thinks he's the only guy who can knock off Trump, adding, quote, I think I'm the most qualified person in the country to be president. I am a gaffe machine, but my God, what a wonderful thing compared to a guy who can't tell the truth. I am a gaffe machine. Now there is a campaign slogan. Meanwhile, Bruce Springsteen says Trump is bound to win again because the Dems don't have anyone who can match his rhetoric. Springsteen even wrote a new song about it. Take a listen. Could be the song of the year. There's no John Cafferty.
Wow. That's Greg Gutfeld, season 1 winner of America's Got Issues.
Yeah, that was my Jimmy. That was my impression. I thought it was pretty close. What, by the way, now that I have your attention barely, isn't Springsteen talking about himself? He's the man of the, he's the common man. He's the left-wing populist.
Yeah.
If Trump is the right-wing populist, he's the left. Why doesn't he run?
And he does admit it in his shows that he's a pretend populist, like that he didn't grow up in the world that he likes to sing about.
Northern California, I think, or something like that.
The boss. I want to go back to your video, though, when you showed the dog honking the horn.
Yes.
Oddly enough, more qualified to drive than Beto O'Rourke. I thought that was... But I love...
Nice.
But I always love, though, when people are like, oh, he's so rad, he skateboards to his rallies. I'm like, he has to. Do you understand? That's plan A and B, you know?
He doesn't have a license anymore, does he?
No, it's bad. But, like, their lineup really does look like a Sharknado movie. It's either, like, really old people who haven't been on TV in forever. Right. Or, like, young people no one cares about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I have a theory, John, that this is what happened with the Republicans. If you have like a bunch of people, it's going to be the contrast between the similarities and one outlier.
You know I'm wearing a Santa Claus suit.
Yes.
Okay, so here's my thought on it. I think Donald Trump should treat the Democratic nominees as if they are Celebrity Apprentice.
Ah, good point.
Okay? And he should give them tasks, and he should make them, because I was on Celebrity Apprentice.
You were. Did you win?
I know what I did win.
Yes.
I played for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and I won. And I raised twice as much money as Pierce Morgan, by the way. I love Pierce, but I beat you, Pierce. I beat you. But no, what if Trump treated the Democratic entire nominee staff as if it were
That'd be funny.
Apprentice?
I don't know if they'd pay attention, but it would still be hilarious.
Let's give them the task. Let them see who rises to the... You know Bernie's going to get it.
Yeah, I think so, too. Bernie is you're going to get a left wing, you're going to get a progressive tires. What's your predictions?
Well, if he does that, you know, Omarosa's getting cut first, so that's definitely going down. Oh, she'll be there.
She'll run.
She'll be, oh, absolutely.
I didn't even think of that.
Listen, this is all sweet and great, but listen, I'll bet lunch. Anybody who wants to take me up on this, I will name you the top 3 right now. That doesn't matter who. I don't care who. 45,000 doesn't matter. It's going to be the same. It's going to be Biden, Bernie, and Hillary. It's going to be the same.
But
the Three Stooges.
Yeah, hey, listen, if you're voting for the other side anyway, what do you care? It's an easy win for you. You should be encouraged. Like, you should literally be like walking around with buttons going, yeah, Hillary should do it. 3rd time's the charm. Like, you literally should get behind it.
I actually do think, I think Kamala Harris is going to make a strong run. I think you're going to get a surprise.
This is the same situation with. I think they've come to the assumption. This is where Barack Obama and Donald Trump have a lot of similarities. They have such a phenomenal control of the people and their base. Nobody really wants to go head to head. It sounds good on paper.
Yeah.
And I think I think the Democrats can see, like, we get the House, maybe we can get the Senate. Whomever is going to go up is going to the slaughter.
Yeah.
So why not send Hillary one more time to the House? You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, put it this way. If I'm in a small closet and I'm punching whoever coming in, chance you're not going to get out, the line to go in is not going to be very long. And if you're going to send somebody in there, you're going to pick the one person in this crowd we don't like.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I think Denver, like, yeah, go ahead, Hillary, you got this, because it's I don't think it's an uphill battle.
Kat, thoughts?
Yes. I do have some.
Yes.
I think it's hilarious when people say I'm the most qualified to be the president. Hillary said the same thing. Joe Biden's saying it now. Because actually, you don't get to decide that. You don't get to decide what qualified means. The voters get to decide what qualified means. It could be anything. It could be anything. If voters decided that the most important thing was, like, which candidate's the best at Super Mario, if you weren't good at Super Mario, then you wouldn't be qualified. It could really be anything. It's all up to the voters.
All right. They're telling me to move on. Kevin Hart quits the Oscars instead of apologizing. Then he apologizes. What's going on with that? We discuss.
He'll be leaving, but I don't know if I can say retiring, but he's a great guy. John Kelly will be leaving at the end of the year. We'll be announcing who will be taking John's place. It might be on an interim basis. I'll be announcing that over the next day or two. But John will be leaving at the end of the year. He's been with me almost 2 years now, as you know, between the two positions. So we're probably going to see him in a little while.
The announcement coming amid two major developments in special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia probe. Mueller's team accusing former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort of lying to prosecutors about several major issues in a heavily redacted new filing. And federal prosecutors recommending substantial prison time for former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen for illegal payments allegedly directed by President Trump to two women who claimed they had had affairs with the president before he was president. Fox News Channel Chief National Correspondent Ed Henry is here to break it all down. Let's begin with Cohen. Okay. I was looking over the filing. It looks like most of it is about cheating the IRS for millions and millions of dollars, and the payment to the mistresses was very, very small, and people argue that that could be a personal expense since it came out of the Donald Trump's personal bank account.
The best thing the president has going from right now is the mainstream media likes to blow up every development into the walls are closing in, he's finished.
Right.
And we heard that Michael Cohen was cooperating. He had all of these hours behind closed doors with Mueller. He's really going to turn in the dirt. But instead, you're right. Largely, this was financial crimes we had heard about before, tax evasion, problems, no doubt, lying.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have happened.
A lot of tax evasion.
Okay.
Millions of dollars.
The new dimension with Cohen was a November 2015 contact he had with an alleged trusted source in Russia.
Right.
So that opened the door. Is this collusion? So far, there's no evidence it was collusion. It shows contact, communication, maybe some kind of a problem, but still, after all this time, no proof of Russian collusion, which is where this started.
So the allegation was that some guy up in the hierarchy over there in Russia contacted Michael Cohen and said, hey, you know,
let's have synergy.
Let's have synergy. Maybe we can help out the campaign. Maybe I'd like to meet the Trump at some point. Nothing ever materialized.
But not evidence of collusion. The other key point you mentioned, campaign finance, in terms of paying off the women. Again, embarrassing, shouldn't have happened. You can talk about it all day, but it's not new. We've heard about it before, number one. And number two, think about the John Edwards case where this essentially went away. And the president's going to make the argument these were personal funds. They were not campaign funds.
Right.
So while a lot of people
are
screaming,
to be reported.
He directed a campaign finance violation, breaking the law, and that his business is going to be drawn in because the Trump organization didn't file all the right paperwork. But at the end of the day, it sounds like president's not going to be.
That's a filing
and that's
violation.
not going to be an impeachable offense.
That's very small ball. All right. Manafort quickly broke the deal that he had with the Mueller team. They accused him of lying and trying to cover up things. What was the main takeaway there? Is the president exposed by anything regarding Paul Manafort or not?
One thing that I would raise. Let me start with the thing that's not that important. So they all of a sudden come up and say in this memo that he was lying about what? About some guy named Dr. K, who's in Cyprus, may have ties to Russian intel, but
he was just doing like wire transfers for him and his Ukrainian business.
Well, I dug into this, and there's a story in USA Today in August of this year at the Manafort trial saying 6 bombshells from the Manafort trial, and Rick Gates' testimony, and Dr. K is mentioned. So we've heard that one before,
bombshell.
Now, here's the point I want to make, though, quickly, which is that in May of this year, Manafort sent a text to an associate and said, I want you to have contact with a Trump administration official. Does that raise more questions about potential, obstruction? Why was Manafort, when a potential pardon is out there, why is he talking to the Trump administration? We frankly don't know. But again, bottom line, this started as an investigation about collusion with Russia. No evidence.
So let's go to General John Kelly. We've been hearing for a very long time John Kelly's out the door. Apparently now he'll be out the door January 1st. Who is next in line to fill that spot? Very tough job.
Absolutely. It seems like General Kelly was exhausted, kind of wanted to move on. He and the president have not exactly been on speaking terms, we're told, in recent days. Nick Ayers is the chief of staff to Vice President Pence. He's a shrewd political operator. Jared Kushner, as well as Ivanka Trump.
What a young little handsome lad that guy is. But Trump is going to chew him up. Well, look at this guy. You think he's tough enough to handle the president?
He's seen, though, as a very shrewd political operator.
I hope
so. Supported by Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, I'm told. Here's the bottom line. He wants to do it, we're told, but for a brief amount of time, the president is pushing him or anyone who's going to do the job to sign on for 2 years, get him through the re-election.
Yeah.
So right now, it's the art of the deal. It's a negotiation.
All right. Catch Ed Henry, Fox and Friends Weekends. There he is.
Good to see you, buddy.
All right, you too. Here with more, Fox News national security strategist Sebastian Gorka and Sarah Carter, Fox News contributor. Okay, ladies first, Sarah. If you look at the Cohen situation, you hear on other places in the mainstream media and on the left that Robert Mueller is closing in. He's getting closer and closer to collusion. I've looked at the memo. I don't see anything in the memo that says, you know what, this is a smoking gun. This is now Mueller really sinking his teeth into collusion. I see a lot of speculation and circumstantial evidence and the word Russia thrown in there once or twice, but nothing that I can say, aha, he's got him.
That's right. It's like if Michael Cohen would have gone to a Russian restaurant and ate borscht, they probably would have put that in there just to bring up Russia, right?
Right.
So my thing is this. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Jesse. There is nothing in the memorandum that we see on Cohen that is explosive or that says, wow, there was collusion. There's nothing in there whatsoever. What I found really interesting was that when they talk about the Moscow project, and that was the project to build, this Trump Tower in Moscow,
right.
Remember Cohen was always the kind of guy, and this has been reported in the past, that would kind of use his influence because he was so close to Trump to try to shake people up and get business going.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me that Cohen himself was out there reaching out to people trying to get business going.
Yeah, he was trafficking in his connections to Donald Trump. He was trying to, kick dust around to see if he can scrum up some consulting fees. And I guess maybe he said that the discussion over the Trump Tower went to January. In fact, maybe it went into June. It's a difference of a few months.
That's
but
right.
I didn't really see anything that said to me, Dr. Gorka, that we're anywhere closer to where we were a year and a half ago with this thing. Do you?
Jesse, it is a massive nothing burger with Russian salad dressing dribbled all over it. That's all we have.
You're making me hungry, Doctor.
Me too.
Look, think about it. There is not one iota of evidence that connects the Trump campaign to any Russian intelligence operation to undermine the election. Not one. In 2 years and $35 million, Robert Mueller is a complete and utter failure. He's grasping at straws. The testimony we have from Dr. Corsi tells you everything you need to know. These are tax evasion charges. We have two baskets of indictees here.
Right.
We have tax evasion, right? We have things that have nothing to do with the Trump campaign, wire fraud 12 years ago. And then we have process crimes, when somebody who has a faulty memory is accused of perjuring themselves. Oh, and the third thing I forgot, sorry. Robert Mueller has been successful in indicting Russian spies for being spies.
Yeah.
And they're never going to
show up.
show
We have not
up.
seen those guys frog marched back here into Washington, D.C.
No,
I don't think
not
we ever were.
happening.
You know, the special counsel, if you look at it, what happened in the 90s, Sarah, with the Clintons, and started with Whitewater and a land deal. Years and years and years later, it was about lying about sex. You saw the
That's
same
right, and
thing
Monica Lewinsky.
in the Bush administration when they outed, allegedly, this woman for being a CIA agent. They spent years investigating that, Patrick Fitzgerald, and then they sent a guy to prison, and he wasn't even the guy that exposed
That's
her.
right.
It was Richard Armitage, Colin
That's
Powell's
absolutely-
deputy, that did it. And then now we have a thing that starts with collusion and obstruction, and all we get are a campaign finance reporting violation and what, tax evasion on a few guys that don't have anything to do with the campaign?
Well, I think what we're seeing here is that they weren't prepared, right? In any of these cases, they were in search of a crime. They didn't have a crime in their hands, so they went out looking for it. And now what we've seen over the last 2 years, Jesse, is more and more information surfacing actually on Hillary Clinton's campaign, on how the FBI and the DOJ handled this investigation, very egregious violations, possible malfeasance
Well, why
within the
can't
FBI
Robert
and DOJ.
Mueller then, I'll put this to both of you, why can't and why hasn't Robert Mueller gone after some of the egregious violations on the other side, the people in the Obama administration that leaked and unmasked the Flynn Russian ambassador phone call, or the Hillary Clinton dossier purchase, and then FISA abuse? Why isn't he, if he's supposed to be looking into any crimes that arise from Russian interference, aren't those crimes that arise from the investigation into Russian interference?
Jesse, why are 13 members of Robert Mueller's team Democrat donors?
Yeah, he's
This
stacked
is a
the deck.
man. Right. You have to know one thing about this person. He shouldn't be investigating Donald Trump because of his own conflict of interest. The day before he was made special counsel by Rod Rosenstein, the day before, he interviewed with Donald Trump to get back his old job as the director of the FBI. Donald Trump said, "No, I need new blood. Sorry, but no thanks." How do you get to investigate the man who you crashed and burned in front of on your last job interview? How is that not a conflict of interest?
Well, it is. And I think there's a two-tiered system of justice here that the American people, and this is why people are angry, Jesse. It's not necessarily about the fact that they're investigating Trump, although now that we have the evidence that we know that the dossier, we've been reporting this for years, has been unverified. And, you know, Christopher Steele was using Russians to gather this intelligence. He was paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC through Perkins Coie. But now that we have all of this mounting information, you know, out there in evidence, the fact that they're not doing anything is stunning. And I think the American people are frustrated. They're angry over $30 billion spent on this $1 million spent on this investigation, and there is nothing to show for it but taking down, you know, bad apples who lied to Congress. But how many people have lied to Congress?
Yeah, I mean,
James
you'd have to lock
Clapper
up
is-
Clapper and Brennan and Comey himself if you do that. And So listen, I think after all this, I've looked at this. I'm going to tell the American people, I'm going to withdraw any pursuit of higher office. I will never run for Congress, Senate, the presidency, because once I get elected, they're going to have a special counsel and they're going to catch me in a lie, any lie, because they will find a crime if they want to find a crime. And that's the truth. Once you have a special counsel, it's radioactive, and anything he touches, it's going down in flames. Dr. Gorka,
Jesse,
Sarah Carter.
Robert Mueller is following an old principle from the Soviet Union. Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime. It's un-American.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Yesterday, James Comey testified on Capitol Hill behind closed doors. Today, we're finding out more about what was said. Fox News senior producer for Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, joins me now. All right, Chad, what were the highlights of that interview?
Well, one of the first things that we learned from James Comey is that he stood behind the FISA application for Carter Page. That's something he said publicly in the hallway there. And they were going to release this transcript about 24 hours afterwards. I'm just going to go through some of the highlights, the first blush that we have seen here. He was asked a question here about whether or not it was proper for Jeff Sessions to recuse himself. And he indicated that he thought that this was an obvious case for recusal. Trey Gowdy also asked Director Comey here, who at the FBI has the authority to launch an investigation into a major political campaign? Would it require approval by you? And Comey said, I don't know that I ever encountered a circumstance where an investigation was launched into a major political campaign. He talked about 100 million to 1. He said, who has won those campaigns when their odds were 100 million to 1? And he said, well, I don't know. Would it be Mao Zedong? Would it be Joseph Stalin? Those were actual quotes from the transcript here. At different points, Jesse, in the interview here, he applauded the Mueller probe. He said that this was an all-star team. That's the quote of prosecutors and attorneys who were put together in this. And he said, quote, I would bet my life that Bob Mueller will do things the right way. Now, this is only the first round of this. He was up there for about 6.5 hours. He's going to come back on the 17th. We expect another round of questioning from lawmakers from both sides. There were 23 members there from both sides.
I looked at some of this transcript as well, and every time they ask him, did you know who paid for the Steele memo? Do you know Christopher Steele? Do you know he hated Trump? Do you know this was financed by the Democrats? Do you care? Did you look at... He seems like so wishy-washy. He's like, I don't really know. I'm not so sure who Chris Steele is. He seems so blasé over the fact that this was a politically motivated, Democrat investigation and smear job with a bunch of unverified claims that he then used to get a FISA warrant. And when Catherine Herridge asked him about that, did you have any faith in the veracity of the dossier? He said, oh, no, I had faith in the process, so I don't really know.
Right, the FISA application.
I know. Listen, Chad, I got to run, but good job out there. Listen.
Thank you.
Next, Barbra Streisand's biggest nightmare comes true on Water's World. 'Tis the season for some holiday hysteria, and it begins in the state of Illinois, where a satanic temple has added a statue in tribute to the Prince of Darkness among the twinkling holiday decorations in the state capitol, citing freedom of religion. And if that's not enough, liberals are still taking aim at Melania Trump's festive and patriotic decorations, accusing her of powwowing with Russia over her use of red Christmas trees. Recently, I spoke with President of Liberty University, Jerry Falwell Jr., on this and other issues with the war on Christmas. All right, Jerry, listen, this is like the Trump derangement syndrome meets the war on Christmas. These decorations look fine to me. The left is calling them evil, bloody, spooky. They called the hallway a murder forest. Do you understand the outrage?
The First Lady was here at Liberty University, and she was asked the question about the criticism of her decorations, and she said, it's the 21st century, everybody has different tastes. She said, I think they look beautiful, and the whole 10,000-seat arena was packed. Everybody started cheering for her. They agree with her. And it's, it's just so, it's such a double standard. If she were married to a Democratic president, she would be on the cover of every fashion magazine just about every month, because she's, I think, the most beautiful and classiest First Lady we've ever had.
Yeah, she's definitely the most stylish. And, I have a lot in common with Melania. I mean, we are both incredibly stylish people. And sometimes we take fashion risks or design risks. And it's a burden that we bear because people just haven't really caught up to us. And eventually they will. And they don't understand, red is the new black this year for Christmas.
But I have a feeling, though, that if you decorated the White House, it wouldn't be as pretty as the way she's done.
You know what? I think you'd probably be right. I'd probably just put a bunch of punch bowls up there and fill them to the brim. All right, let's get into this Massachusetts town. I guess the town's Dorchester, a beautiful town up in Massachusetts. They sent out an invitation to a Christmas party. And you ready? This is the theme. I'm dreaming of a white Dorchester. Now, you know, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Classic, right there. Everybody understands that. But they got heat from all these left-wingers at the town that says, that's racist. We're dreaming of a white Dorchester or white Christmas is racist.
Anybody with any common sense knows it's a take off the song White Christmas. It's art. And just like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, it's art. And the left always uses art as an excuse to put on display some of the most vile and just absolutely disgusting type of displays in different museums. But it's okay because it's art. Well, why isn't Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and White Christmas, the song, why isn't that just art? I mean, to me, it's hypocritical, another double standard from the left, and I think people are